Hey everybody, it's July 13th, 2020. You're watching Frogpants Plays Daily with Scott Johnson. That's me. All right, I have to say before starting today's show that I'm a little bummed that Ubisoft decided not to include any kind of statement in their Ubisoft Forward stream announcement yesterday about the ongoing horrific stuff coming out of that company at very high levels in terms of sexual misconduct, harassment, intimidation of employees, some like gnarly business. And I think they had an opportunity to at least say something, even in their just little pre-stream. They had a pre-stream, and in the pre-stream, they had a whole segment that was like, I don't know, a minute and a half long of bloopers from people's time in a game. And it was like, oh, here's some bloopers of us doing stuff in a game, or please send your clips in. And I'm thinking, I can get that on Twitch or YouTube any day. Maybe take that minute and a half and just address this elephant in the room. And they never did, and it bummed me out. I think they could have done better. They could have done a lot better. But today we're going to talk about their games that they talked about, because that's what we do here on Frogpants Plays Daily. So sit back and enjoy. After several leaks earlier this week, Ubisoft announced finally Far Cry 6 is happening. It will come out on February 2021. After several leaks earlier this week, Ubisoft officially announced Far Cry 6 for a February 2021 release. The reveal showcased Breaking Bad and The Mandalorian actor Giancarlo Esposito in a new role. Although some might argue it's basically just Gus Fring again. I wonder if he has a series of chicken restaurants in this island he's in. Anyway, nothing's known about the gameplay yet, although we can make all kinds of assumptions. We know what a Far Cry game is. We assume it's a first-person shooter. We assume a lot of things about what a Far Cry game is at this point. So I don't expect them to veer too far from what Far Cry is and does. But all they showed was the story trailer, and it looked cool. I mean, it seemed like, all right, they're setting this up to be a place run by a horrible guy, and he's teaching his son a horrible thing, and we need to take that dude down. And there's all kinds of civil unrest and bad stuff going on. But that's really it. It sets the tone, but we don't know anything about what you're going to be doing minute to minute in that game. So my basic thought is, can a game excel with just the hype factor of, hey, Giancarlo Esposito is in this, he is going to carry it? Like, will that be enough for another Far Cry game, which is honestly a little long in the tooth? I don't think too many people would argue otherwise. So anyway, we'll see what that means. One would assume, they didn't say this, but one would assume that this would be a PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 release, as well as PC. So hang tight and watch for February 2021. It was already announced earlier this year, but Assassin's Creed Valhalla has been confirmed for November 17th as a release on Xbox One and PS4, as well as PC and Stadia. Ubisoft reconfirmed the upcoming adventure is also set for Xbox Series X and PS5, but they did not say when that was going to happen. It won't happen on the same day. We've already seen a lot from this game, so there's not a lot of new stuff to say, except it looks very Assassin's Creed, based on the last couple of games, very much like the last one in terms of the kind of game that it is, although there is a bit of a return to stealth action. I forget what they call it, but basically blending into crowds and that sort of stuff, that's making a comeback. Being able to just throw your hood up and then suddenly you're a little more stealthy or whatever, that seems to be making more of a play here than it did in the last prior games. I think that's cool. I like when Assassin's Creed plays into stealth and assassin and all that junk. But I also like the RPG elements and the sort of Witcher 3 take and the story and the characters and stuff that they have fleshed out in the last couple too. So for me, this is an interesting combination of those. We'll see if it works. Also, I hope this launches on those two new consoles as launch titles. Like, why not? When those things come out, make this part of the launch lineup. They didn't say that, but I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't do that unless you're trying to, I don't know, artificially make people wait for the next version of the thing. It is part of that program on Xbox where if you bought it in the previous gen, you're going to get it for free as an upgrade to the next gen. So no big deal for those players, but you'll have to buy it first for the previous console. So we don't know on that, but and the PlayStation 5 side of that is unsure in terms of whether you get a free upgrade or not. However, no additional details were given about when and how soon we'd see those on new consoles. The one big question I came away with, and there was a lot of gameplay shown and some other stuff, but I don't quite understand the power system versus the leveling system that was in the previous game. So I need more information on that, please. Like, I just want to know if how these systems are going to hold up and if it's all going to be okay. Is it going to be okay? Please tell me it'll be okay, because, you know, I love these games. Ubisoft announced Watch Dogs Legion will be released on October 29th, 2020, alongside the release date. Ubisoft showcased more of Legion's ambitious gameplay, which allows players to essentially recruit any NPC and make them a playable character. So we already knew a lot about this game as well. Not a lot to add here, except I was getting a very Saints Row vibe out of it as compared to previous showings. I don't know why that is. It's probably the little animated intro thing they did. It looked very Saints Row, wacky. Everybody's wearing weird masks, kind of a pseudo psycho future looking stuff. Just the kind of vibe it had was very Saints Row 3 and forward sort of for me. Outside of that, though, I'm still unconvinced that there are only going to be 5 to maybe 8 archetypes and or class types, and that everybody in the city will just adhere to one of those. So when you recruit an old lady, you're recruiting kind of the old feeble, hit them with the purse class. And then that's going to also apply to a number of other possible NPC choices. And if you're choosing great big hulky guy who's at the bar, he'll apply to like the dude at the gym or this big construction worker or whatever. I'm a little worried that those archetypes are more limited than they're showing us, because what they're claiming and what they're promising sounds amazing. Like the idea of I could come into a city and basically just hack any NPC I want, not hack, but recruit any NPC I want in the city. And now they're doing what I need them to do, and they do it all in a very totally different way. Like, that's really compelling. I'm not sure they're going to deliver that. It just seems like a high-minded promise that feels hamstrung by what's possible. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they blow our minds, and we'll find out in October, the 29th to be specific. And that's kind of it. They showed other stuff, but it was all for other games that they already have going. So they had updates to things like what's going on with Siege and what's going on with their Valhalla game, their little fighter game coming to mobile platforms. They talked about some of that stuff. So there were more tidbits and pieces to this event, but very little in the way of new content. They haven't even touched or mentioned a couple of games that have been in development for a long time. A couple of them I don't remember names of, but I remember Bones and Skull? Skull and Bones. Do I remember it? Skull and Bones? Anyway, the pirate ship battle thing. And also that weird sports title that looked kind of, I don't know, Rocket League-y last year. And they put out a demo for a while at E3 and everybody could play it at home if they wanted to or whatever. What happened to that? I didn't see that, although they showed it in their little montage video at the beginning. There's no mention of where that thing's at. So there were some weird things missing from this, and that kind of bummed me out. I was also hoping for a follow-up to Mario versus Rabbids, and was hoping that maybe would have shown its face, because I really like that game and I would play a sequel. Email. Quick email here from Dustin R. He wrote in and says this: "Hey Scott, I hope this isn't too personal, but what is that red thing on your forehead?" Dustin R. So he's talking about, can you guys see it? Right here, right there, that little red thing. That little red thing is it's a mole. And yes, I've had it checked to make sure it's nothing weird. It's just a mole. It's just hanging out up there. I could probably have it removed, but then would that be me anymore? Wouldn't I just be a shadow of myself? But don't worry, that's not embarrassing. I don't care. Everyone has moles. There's mine right there. Check out that mole. It's a sweet one. You should see the one well, you don't want to see that one. Today on Of Little Consequence, here's an old animated segment from one of the Creepshow movies. I don't remember if it was Creepshow 1 or Creepshow 2, but this is basically just a scene where a kid gets a boot to his Jimmy, and I thought you'd enjoy it, so here you go. That's going to do it for Frogpants Plays Daily. Thanks for joining me. As always, go to frogpantsplays.com if you have any questions or want to contact me. You can also email me, scott@frogpants.com. And if you like the show, support it at patreon.com/frogpants. That'll do it for me today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Start that all over again. It was all dumb, and that was very dumb. After several early leaks,